Hello there. Some of this Labour sleaze oozing out goes back years, and we're meant to believe it's all just emerged in the last couple of weeks. What's really going on? Don't you think it's strange that these revelations, including some sort of open secret about the Prime Minister's use of Lord Ali's flat during COVID and all the largesse Ali has poured onto the Labour Party great and good over the years, has only just been uncovered? Are we really to believe that these stories about Keir Starmer haven't been banked by the press and those with political interests from many moons ago? All this new info that smacks of possible breaches of lockdown, electoral rules and parliamentary rules, as well as a lack of transparency, have only just been noticed? Well, some may have, because according to the Telegraph, another 16 grand in the Lord Ali clothing allowance for our dear Prime Minister has just been uncovered, allegedly taking the total to over 32 grand. Or could it be that journalists think that defenestrating a politician when they are Prime Minister is much more newsworthy than when they're in opposition, and therefore leads to a juicier income, or maybe more favours later on down the line, if you get my drift? So the withholding of such information is all above board. Especially if by withholding a story you first get your preferred politicians into power, and by stopping the story you ensure political punishment can be meted out to the lot we've grown tired of, leaving us schmucks out of the loop as they go about their dirty little secrets and manipulating public opinion. Is that a real conspiracy? And now we hear about some sort of open secret about the Prime Minister that's been whispered about in the press corridors for months, maybe years. An open secret that's only just been aired outside the closely guarded media and political circles, with whiffs of innuendo by certain commentators on Talk TV, for example. And from one Katie Hopkins in one of her latest videos, where she alleges what we've heard on the grapevine and also hints that the press will have had the info for some time. An open secret allegedly involving our new Prime Minister, no less, and his past, and possibly his family, we're told. All just rumours, of course. There's no fire and definitely no smoke to see here. So move along until the mainstream press are ready to milk it, if it exists, for all it's worth. All sounds rather murky though, doesn't it? And all this murk doesn't surround just our dear Keir Sausages Starmer either, does it? That reminds me, I might have a hostage roll for lunch. Anyway, other Labour worthies have also used up Lord Ali's flat, allegedly. And then there's the 1.2 million quid loan in March last year for buying a house for the sister of a Labour MP. Wonder what the outcry would have been if all of this had been under a Tory party a couple of years ago, or Reform UK today. Now, many of us strongly suspect that Keir Starmer was chosen as Labour Party leader so that he could be the acceptable face of Labour, to force all thought of hard left policies to come and anti-Semitism out of people's heads. You're safe under a reformed Labour Party, we're told. Something Starmer reiterated in his conference speech. But many of us thought this would not last long as the hard left cadre in Labour started to flex its muscles post-election, with the result that either Starmer would be exposed as a hard left adherent, or an excuse would be found to oust Starmer or force him to resign quite quickly, so as to leave the door open for a far-left communist candidate to step forward to replace Starmer and revert the Labour Party to type, with either of those outcomes heralding in a new age of a Stalinist-style command economy, where, as usual, the new elite gets nicely levelled up and the rest of us are levelled down to the gutter of poverty and total state reliance, as illustrated by all this sleaze. But the longer Starmer's past remains the political story of the day, the more likely it is that he will be replaced. But why would they want to replace him? Surely he's already shown us the red side of his nature. He's already vilified anyone who disagrees with open borders as far right, and shown that he and this woke left establishment are quite happy to put them in the slammer for months, if not years, for their dissent. Starmer's also giving the unions what they want: more powers to strike, and an almost instant cave-in when they do. Why would the unions want Starmer replaced, for example? And as soon as he kowtows to the demands for a stringent blasphemy law and chokes off more support for Israel, then a certain demographic won't have much cause for complaint, will it? Well, not yet anyway. And Guido Fawkes points to Lord Ali's, firm opinions on the Syria issue, as expressed in the House of Lords, where Ali said in 2013 that he'd been to the country a number of times and met President Assad on several of them. Ali seems to like the thought of Assad remaining in power there. Will Keir Starmer disown Ali's comments on this? The Ali donor scandal has just taken a very unsettling turn, said Guido. And then, of course, there's Starmer's economic policies that look like they are designed to stifle our economy in favour of a big state and handing over more powers to workers to dictate terms to their employers, where the employers in the end are working hard towards the employees' wealth and happiness, not working hard to make a successful business and a profit for the employer. As I keep saying, the Labour Party sees the function of private enterprise being to provide an open ATM and be a social services outlet for their employees. And anything over and above that is made by the employer will be taxed into oblivion for the benefit of those who can't work. I see a humbling visit to the International Monetary Fund in the offing for the Chancellor Rachel Reeves or her successor. And now we hear Reeves is going to tinker with the financial rules to free up another 50 billion quid's worth of borrowing. Yes, change the rules so they can up the nation's credit card limit. So turning what Labour claim is a 20 billion plus black hole into a 70 billion plus black hole. All this money has to be borrowed, and our kids, grandkids, great-grandkids ad infinitum will have to pay the interest on that ever-mounting debt. Because none of it, not one penny of it, will ever be paid back by any future government. Winning the next election is far more important than presiding over a functioning society or a functioning economy, isn't it? And according to our Labour government, this new borrowing will be invested for our future in some or other infrastructure. Every government in the last few decades has told us exactly that same thing, then wasted the lot on starting some sort of vanity crap, or sending it abroad for others to spend with abandon, and then spent twice as much on trying to stop that vanity project, or stop parts of it, or even restart it. Think HS2, and think the Rwanda scheme, now to be the Albania scheme. Or is it? Who knows? And the worst thing for me is the relentless onslaught by all parties over the last few decades against the UK family, especially the white UK family and anything that involves white boys and men, a relentless onslaught that has led us to no longer have a sufficient number of children to replace our own population. And the white kids, especially the boys, are being left to flounder by the woke system, all to cater for the increasing number of illegal newcomers. As former British Army officer Tim Collins pointed out in the Telegraph a couple of days ago, There are now more asylum seekers accommodated in hotels in the UK than we have soldiers accommodated in barracks. That's at a cost of £8 million a day, or £2.9 billion a year. And when white boys do apply for jobs in the armed forces or police, we hear the stories of them being turned away for lack of diversity. But now Tim Collins is pointing out that these left at the back of the queue lads are the ones we need to recruit. And the civilian sailors that work in our Royal Fleet Auxiliary, an organisation that is key to supporting long-range Royal Navy operations, have suffered an effective 30% pay cut since 2010, and the private sector is hoovering them up. Giving those sailors a pay rise to take them up to parity today would increase the total pay bill from just £92 million a year to about £120 million. And I bet not one penny from this £50 billion of new borrowing will go anywhere near them. At the end of the day, I don't see anything that Keir Starmer, nor anyone likely to succeed him, doing anything to improve the lot of ordinary Brits. Unless there are union strikes in the offing. Everything else is now planned around the requirements of others. And whatever secret or secrets surround Starmer, or any effect that has on whether he stays or goes, will change nothing. The only way for us to get the change we want is to get involved and vote this Lib Lab Green con shower round the U-bend at every opportunity. And you can help by visiting London on the 26th of October to support Mr. T. And please sign the pledge. And do spread the word. Details in the descriptions box below.